Hello and welcome back to Whiskey Wars. Tonight we'll be reviewing this bottle of 1792 Small Batch. Let's get into it. So the history of the distillery behind this bottle is complicated. As I mentioned in the very old Barton 100 proof video, this distillery has changed hands many times. It's been the Barton Distillery, it's been the Thomas More Distillery, but the Barton Distillery is the distillery responsible for this bottle. However, this whiskey brand did not gain popularity until after Prohibition, as did very old Barton. But there were more changes to come as the Sazerac company would come along and buy up this distillery as well, because apparently it decided it didn't have enough already. If you're not aware, Sazerac owns about half of the products you will see on your shelves today, including Buffalo Trace, E.H. Taylor, all of the Weller line, Staggs Jr., and then the list goes on and on. Now, when the Sazerac company bought the distillery, it was at that time named the Thomas More Distillery. But then in 2009, Sazerac would rename it the Barton 1792 Distillery, really showing off their two premium brands. Now, shortly after that, 1792 would become the flagship of the Barton Company. Now, 1792 gets its name from the year when Kentucky would become a state. However, if you ask a Kentuckian, Kentucky is not a state, it's a commonwealth, so get it right. But 1792 has won many awards since taking on that name, and one of those awards came in 2017 when the Whiskey Bible would name it Liquid Gold, and then in 2020 at the American Whiskey Awards it would win gold there as well. So now that we know a little bit about the bottle, let's get into it and see what it's all about. And oh look, here's some whiskey. All right, now that we have our whiskey, let's go ahead and give it a nosing and see what it tastes like. All right, so getting some banana. Banana's real strong on the nose. Brown sugar, almost like powdered sugar in there. Real sweet smelling. Caramel for sure, like most bourbons. A real deep brown sugar smell as well. But I would say the two most prominent smells are your banana and brown sugar. Also getting hints of like sourness, like a citrus sour. I would say something like a lemon. And getting, of course, your hints of oak and char there as well. Let's go ahead and give this thing a sip and see what it tastes like. All right, so you're definitely getting the banana note on the palate, as well as you're getting quite a bit of that barrel char and some of that oak sourness, and then definitely getting those brown sugars as well as the caramel. But you're also getting just strong sweetness, like just a general sweetness, like sugar. Very nice so far. Let's go ahead and give it another sip. All right, on that taste, I got a little more out of it. Got some darker fruit notes, maybe like a raisin or like a candied raisin, because it's very sweet. Maybe also like hints of like plum notes, or maybe like maybe even prune, although not quite as I'm not a fan of prunes, but kind of maybe a very ripe plum. Now let's give it one more sip here and see if we can get anything else out of this glass. All right, so again, getting the banana is definitely probably the dominant flavor, and then brown sugar is probably next, and then caramel, and then also you're getting quite a bit of that barrel char in there. But one thing else that I picked up on that sip was that on the finish, you're getting a pretty strong kind of black pepper, definitely a peppery kind of burn on the back, which isn't too bad. I would say it does take away from the whiskey a little bit. But all in all, it's a very nice sipping whiskey. And you're also getting quite a bit of the barrel notes, the oak, and the char on the finish as well. But very nice palate. I would say the palate is definitely up there competing with, say, like an Old Forester or 100 proof, or maybe a Wild Turkey 101, as far as just a nice overall, just well-rounded whiskey. I would say the finish, though, is not quite as good. I would say that kind of dings it and doesn't make it quite as high a tier whiskey as those two that I mentioned. But all in all, for this being a $25 bottle, I think it's definitely worth a try. If you've never tried it before, definitely go out and pick one up and see for yourself. Maybe you like those flavors more than I do, but I would still say in that $25 range, it's definitely in the top 5 or so bourbons. So that'll do it for this review today. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did like it, feel free to like it. And then also, if you really like it, then subscribe. That would really help the channel out. And of course, I appreciate that. And also let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this bourbon if you have tried it. So I look forward to all of that. And until next time, just remember, folks, you can never have too much good whiskey.